Okay, so I'm going to read the Osho Zen Tarot. Zen knows only a vast life which contains all kinds of contradictions in a deep harmony. The night is in harmony with the day, and life is in harmony with death, and the earth is in harmony with the sky. The presence is in harmony with the absence. I'm going to stop right there for a second. There's an expression that I love. I think it's Buddhist, but it's in the absence that the vessel is useful. So like a cup or a bowl is useful because it's empty. All right, so the presence is in harmony with the absence. This immense harmony, this synchronicity, is the essential manifesto of Zen. This is the only way of life which respects and loves and denies nothing, condemns nothing. So, when you become more and more fine, but not in the way that like I'm fine, when you're not really fine, but when you pull back and you allow for night, day, death, living, life, death, when you just start condemning nothing. I love the way he says condemn nothing. Then I'm detached. Okay, so level 1 Reiki students, like I said, they get attached to the outcome of the healing. Someone comes to me with cancer, I want to remove it. Okay, but when I detach from having cancer bad and being healed, not having cancer is good, that engages my ego. If I do that, my ego gets engaged. Not only to say, you're a good healer if you heal this cancer away, you're a bad healer if you don't. Okay, so allowing and condemning nothing. When you can detach, this is what level 1 is. The practice is over and over with the prayer, over and over. Please connect me to the source in the highest best interest of all. Keep me unattached to the outcome of this healing. Just let me clearly transfer the energy or transfer the principles of the healing to the patient, to the client. So, but when he writes, when Osho's Zen Manifesto talks about condemning nothing, the more neutral that you can be when you're a healer, the better your healings are going to be, because you'll be unattached to the outcome of the healing. Okay. Think about a pendulum. Okay. When a pendulum hangs straight down and it's in the neutral space is where the healing happens. So it's the neutral space where the healing happens. Think about if a friend's talking to you about how bad that their mate is, their mate is. And they're saying, oh, this person, he or she, they're awful, they did this and that. And if you're like, yeah, they're such douches, and I knew you should have never married them, blah, 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 and you're with them, you're on their side, no healing can happen. You're with them, you're on their side, you're holding the pendulum on that side. You're not helping them heal. They're not going to be able to heal. You're on their side, but in being on a side, there's no healing happening. And then the opposite side, if they're like, yeah, my spouse is doing this, such true. And then you play devil's advocate where you're like, well, their dad just died and, this happened and this happened. What the person's like, no, she's always been that way. He's always been that way. You don't understand. So if you try and play devil's advocate, you're just taking the pendulum and you're pulling it to the other side and you're trying to help them. Trying is not doing. So they're going to dig in and they're going to fight for their original position of their spouse is a jerk or whatever, their mate. Their mate is a problem, is an issue. They're going to dig their heels in. So whether you're on their side or you're playing devil's advocate, the pendulum is not in the center space. The center space is where the most healing happens. And the best way to be in that neutral space, and so some healers say we hold space for our clients. So healers hold the space for the clients to do their own work. They're just, I'm neutral, I'm an empty, clean straw. I allow the energy to come through me from source to the client, and I'm just doing my part as the clean, clear straw, doing the best I can do as a clean, clear straw, unattached to the outcome. Okay. That makes sense, right? Okay. I think that makes sense. Now, let's take that further, because you guys are blue renegades. You guys are the blue renegade yogi group. You guys get this. You get the idea of staying in the neutral space, of holding space for the client, of connecting the client to source and letting them do their own, and then without judging or condemning or saying one thing's good, one thing's bad, we allow the highest best interest to happen. We're not getting involved. We're not getting in the way. We're not on their side to take the cancer away, or we're not, whatever. Okay, it's none of that. It's a nothing. The hanging is no thing. That center space of non-attachment, we don't make it into a thing. No thing. When I first started doing healing work, and I made the mistake of saying, how's it going? How are you? They would launch into a story. Well, this, and then I was like, no stories. I don't need to hear the story. Okay, because there's 1,000 ways to get PTSD. I don't need to know how you got it, because you're wasting our time. Because whatever you came in with, I plan as a healer to remove as much lower vibrational energy as I possibly can, as your higher self and your ego will allow me to remove. If I engage a client, if I let my client engage me in a story, their body is going to go through it as if it's happening again. As they tell me the story, they're going back through it. Their body thinks they're back in it, because just like a horror movie, your eyes work the same. You're eating popcorn while you're watching a horror movie, your blood pressure's rising. Like, don't go in the shed. What are you doing? Why would you go in the shed? You know? So, your body experiences, even though you're sitting in a movie theater and you're eating popcorn and these are fake people and this is a movie screen, it's not really happening. You're still taking it in. Your brain is still processing what's happening. And your body, your blood pressure still goes up. It still responds. Well, that was quite a little tangent. Let me see if I can get back on track. Okay. So if I let someone tell me a story, okay, then their body goes back through the story as if it's happening again. That's not what anyone needs. People don't need that. They really don't need to revisit the story, feed it to their cells again as a truth, okay? And then, like that. All right. So as a healer, the more hands-off we can be, if you think about a parent, I love my daughter, I love my son. When they fight, if I take someone's side, it's not so helpful. I need to see the situation from parent, love, higher vibration. I need to see it. So the more you can pull yourself back. So as you raise your vibration, you guys are so tired of hearing me say raise your vibration, but as you raise your vibration and your consciousness expands, and you expand in the light, you know, you become more allowing of all that's happening to just happen. Okay? You become more hands-off. You see more of what he's talking about in the Zen Manifesto. There's night, there's day, you know, there's happy, there's sad, there's you know, you see more of a dance, more of a harmony, you know. So Zen, the only way that of life which respects and loves and denies nothing, condemns nothing. If someone comes to me with cancer, and I think, oh, cancer's bad, I'm condemning it. Hi, Roxanne. If I come at it as a healer, if I come at a situation, this is how the situation presents. And if I go, ooh, cancer bad, let's fight it. What we resist persists. Okay? So by not condemning, and by, okay, well, this is just what's happening now. the more neutrality I can bring to the situation, the more fluidity and the less condemnation, the more I can just bring the person, okay, well, that's just what's happening now. Okay. The more the person is going to relax, they're going to raise their vibration because they won't feel guilty that they came to me to fix something. If we're focused on fixing something, we're actually feeding the thing we're trying to fix. That's why hate has no home here. Signs only can bring hate. It's the subject of the sentence. So that's part of it. All right. So, quantum physics and what the belief do we know? When you have dead people like in your face yelling, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And Esther Hicks channels Abraham Hicks videos. If you can watch Abraham Hicks videos as much as you can, you really need to get a really good working knowledge of the law of attraction. But the main thing is, what do you want? What do you want? Focus on what I want, what I want, what I want. As soon as I get a thought of what I don't want, getting hurt or someone else getting hurt, cancel, and then 3 times affirm what you do want. That's why we do the moon papers, and on the new moon we write our desires, because we're focusing on what we want. Where your mind goes, energy follows. We're natural healers. I teach this in level 1 too. We're all natural healers. Human beings are natural healers. What happens when your body gives you a pain? If your head hurts, your shoulder hurts, whatever. You put your hand where it hurts, and it feels better instantly. We're designed to be healers, all right? Where my mind goes, energy follows. The pain is my body saying, put your mind here. Just put your mind here. Put your mind here. Okay. When someone loses someone or somebody's sad in their heart, so the lungs hold grief, what do? We hug them. We hug each other, heart to heart, heart to heart. That's healing. If you've ever been really sad and someone hugs you, it feels more powerful than what you would think a hug would feel like. When somebody has a lot of work to do, a heavy burden, we put our hand on their shoulder. The shoulders hold burdens. Why are people's shoulders tight? Because they have a lot. They're telling themselves, I got a lot to do, I got a lot to do. Or that maybe they do have a lot to do, but I'm just saying, the shoulders are, people with shoulder problems, it's burdens. They're always thinking about their burdens. So when someone's got a lot of work to do, we put our hand on their shoulder. We're just natural healers. I'm telling you, the human race is set up and wired for love and wired for healing. It's taken a lot. It's taken decades to turn us against each other to see what we see now. But that's okay, because not all of us are buying it. Some of us are getting out of it, and then some people are just confused, and then, then some of us are going to teach the people who really want to learn how not to be confused, how to heal themselves naturally, and how to move towards the higher vibrations where everything feels better and everything is better. You guys are in this group right now. You guys all want to learn, and you're all here, and all of you have available to you a 900 level vibration, empowerment, freedom, and gratitude. All of you, every single person that is in this Reiki 2 class, 900 level. And what's so cool is that we're not just letting anyone come into this group, okay, because they would mess up our 900 vibe. No offense to them. We love them from here. We bless them. We forgive them in their fear and their anger and their hate or whatever it is. But here in this group, 900 level is available. All right. Now, I don't want to run on too long, but I want to explain something that I normally explain in level 1. Okay. Why does healing work? So I'm just going to blast over very quickly, but ask me questions if you have them. So the stuff that started happening to me since I was a kid is really weird, and I was like, why? I asked my heart the right questions, and then quantum physics came to me. So there's, in this scientific experiment. They have this light particle machine, and it shoots light particles, and it counts how many light particles it shoots. So they took a screen, a light particle screen, that receives the light particles, and you can see the dots, and then you can count. So they shot light particles at a light particle screen, and they could count all the dots. They accounted for all the dots and the light particle machine. So they did that experiment so many times and called it fact. Then they blocked the light particle screen with another screen that doesn't register light particles. And they shot light particles at the screen that blocks the light particle screen, and there were no light particles showing up behind the screen that blocked it. Okay? They did that a few times, and they considered that fact. Moving on. They cut slits now. They cut slits in the screen that blocked the light particle screen. And again, they shot light particles at that. And as they watched it, they expected the light particles to line up behind the slits, which happened. And then they had to run the experiment a certain amount of times to call it fact, so they left. And they were able to run the experiment through the night. But when they came in and no one was watching, the light particles weren't lined up behind the slits. That was weird. They thought it was a one-off. So then they watched it, expecting the light particles to line up behind the slits. Okay? That happened. And then when they ran it with no one there, the light particles were all over the place. Okay, I'm going to skip. When they did the experiment, and the only variable, they had to cut down the variables. They didn't think they had many variables going, but they said, all right, let's have an observer watch and expect the light particles to go behind the slits. They did it. That's what happened. Now, they took the same observer watching the experiment, only now the observer expects the light particles to not line up behind the slits and go everywhere. That's what happened. So they used the same observer, and when the observer expected the light particles to line up behind the slits, that's what happened. And when the observer expected the light particles to go everywhere, that's what happened. The only conclusion that they could draw was that the observer affected the outcome of the experiment. Okay. So depending on what the observer decided was going to happen, that's what happened. Okay? We are the observer of our own lives. So what do you want? What do you expect to happen? So it's the same thing, only instead of light particles, it's, do you expect to be happy? Do you expect to be grateful? I think it's called the slit. If you just look up quantum physics, maybe I'll find it. Maybe I'll throw a video up. I'll put a video up here, Colleen. Can you just text me and say, well, hopefully I remember. But I have a big dent on my head from driving. I expected to drive very fast, and I did. All right, but that's quantum physics in a nutshell. That's quantum physics in a nutshell. So when we do healing work, when we do Reiki distance healing work, we expect what we're doing to go towards the person. They want it too. And not to get all Bible-y, but the Bible says, whenever two or more are gathered in his name, then I'll be there. It's like God says, and I'm terrible with the Bible because I haven't read it. I hear it. I hear things in my head, so I know it's in there. Something in the Bible says something like, whenever two or more are gathered in his name, God is there. Right? So whenever two or more are gathered in the name of what? When I'm gathered and my healing client is gathered, and the two of us are gathered in the name of healing on my client, it's going to happen. The universe allows it. God allows it. It's meant to happen. All right? So, let's talk about, okay, so I have a mother-in-law that used to be so mean to me. So when I used to use Reiki distance healing, me and her. Now, she didn't know we were doing this little experiment, so she wasn't gathered in that name. But I called and asked her higher self for permission. So it was me and her higher self. And then I would sweep through, removing the lower vibrational energies of the relationship. Like this. So permission for Reiki 2 takes on a different form than in level 1. Level 1 is very easy. Would you like a healing? Yes, I would. Please lay down. Open to receive. Awesome. Great. Okay, thank you. All right, but level 2, this is a whole different ball game here. You can do a healing on someone from a distance. You're in it, they're in it, both want it. It's going to happen. I expect to observe a distance healing to happen. All right. Also, if you watch I have a Renegade Yogi YouTube channel, and you can just look at some of the old. I have clients from. I worked on someone from China and like all different places, England and stuff, and California, stuff like this. So, you can look back. You can see distance healing. It's probably boring if it's not for you, but you can get a feel for information that I get from people that I don't really know. Sometimes you can tell when I know them. Yeah. I sound more professional, with the people I don't know, but you can get a feel for how I present the information, what kind of information comes through. And the way it comes through doesn't leave them vulnerable. So I always thought that was pretty cool. All right. I feel like I'm rambling. I'm going to read the Reiki 1 protocol quick. Reiki 1 protocol. Grounding yourself in the clients first. Imagine roots growing from your feet, tailbone to the center of the earth. Then you can say, I'm grounded 3 times. And then the opening prayer. Okay, also, if you like, you can set an intention that you automatically ground when your hands turn on. And so that's what I do with my students. When my hands turn on, I automatically ground. I set that intention. I expect that. I said it. It's happening because I said. Opening prayer includes clear and perfect channel, unattached to the outcome, and for the highest best interest of all. So the prayer is, please connect me to the divine healing energy and transfer your love and principle to the client's name. Make me a clear and perfect channel, unattached to the outcome of this healing. Let this healing happen for the highest best interest of all. It is so. All right. Some people dedicate healings to send energy to greater causes, like world peace, stuff like this. Do what's right for you. And then relax your eyes, jaw, and shoulders. Feel the energy overflow your pitcher before you pour into their glass. So you're receiving the healing too. At the same time you receive the healing, you fill up your pitcher, and then they're just like a little cup, and you're pouring into their cup, but your pitcher stays full. So, and then there's hand positions for level 1. And then there's finishing. We're going to go through all that. I just want to use the class time. I'll talk you through. But this is great to be able to get this stuff out early, and then you can go back and look at it if you want. But there's Albert Einstein, could explain it much better than me. But the movie that I sent you, I think I Am, is the one that will explain some other stuff better. So the movies that I sent you, really good ways of helping you see that things aren't the way we think they are. But for now, tonight, what I want you to get out of this for tonight, thanks Roxanne, is really, I know, like, I'm a Zen fanatic or whatever, but really understanding that there's more harmony and more synchronicity than people think. Just that, Zen knows only a vast life. When you're really getting how vast everything, this whole experience is so vast. This planet is huge. You know, I used to fly 767, the extended range over water, big planes, wide bodies, 484,000 pounds gross takeoff weight. I mean, huge planes. And, I mean, not the biggest, but they're big, you know. And it would take us like 14 hours to get, you know, from New York to Buenos Aires, you know. We're flying so fast, and it still takes all that time, and we didn't even go from one pole to the other. It's so vast. This whole planet is vast, and everything is vast. And, you know, we're only here for 100 years, and each person has their own experience. But when you can connect to that vastness, and you can just raise your vibration and expand like 900 or more, and then you just look at everything like, you know, when you look from far enough back, you see harmony, you see peace. You're not in the fight. It's like I see my kids fighting, but from further, my brother and I used to fight. When you see from further and further back, you really see night, you know, night in harmony with day. But death is in harmony with life. Life's in harmony with death. The earth's in harmony with the sky. You know, Zen, it's like nothing's bad, nothing's good, things just are. And you have this experience of your own life, and you use a law of attraction, and whatever lowers my vibration is my contrast. You know, I don't want to be 500 pounds and bald. That lowers my contrast. You know, I want to be a certain way that raises my vibration. That raises my vibration. That's my desire. That's it. My desire, my contrast. As I move towards my desire and I give myself permission to do what I already want to do. Are there people you want to get rid of? Are there things you want to get rid of? Let it go. Give yourself permission to lighten your load. Lighten up, lighten up, lighten up, expand. When you give yourself permission to do the stuff that your heart's telling you to do, just do it, just do it. If you give yourself that permission to let things go or not do it or to do it or whatever, and you lighten your load and you can rise to the higher level vibration, 900. Gratitude, you know, freedom, empowerment. All that can happen to you up there, the only thing that can happen to you in those higher vibrations is more of that, because that's what you're vibrating out into the world. So if you're empowered and you're feeling in freedom, you know, and gratitude, you get more things to be grateful for. It gets easier to say, nope, sorry, I don't want to do that. Nope, that's my contrast. You know, yes, you do end up speaking a totally different language than people vibrating at 100 level fear. But do you want to speak their language? No, you don't. Your soul's begging you to just stop trying to speak the language of fear. What's that thing I think Carly sent me? It's like, you can't speak butterfly language to caterpillars. You have this group. I'm not disbanding this little Reiki group. You have this group. Okay. So, the immense harmony. You'll see it. You'll see it. I promise. You know, I remember watching people suffer, my mother being one. I love you, Roxanne. I remember watching my mother suffer and thinking, there are much worse things than death. Trust me. There's much things worse than death. So you just have to change your definition. Change your definition. All right? So the Zen way of life respects and loves and denies nothing and condemns nothing. Whatever's happening now, it's happening now. Allow it powerfully. 900 level vibration empowerment. Allow what's happening now to happen. If it's hurting you, move away from it. It's your contrast. Give yourself permission to do what you already want to do. You want to move away from lower vibrational energy, situations, and people. Give yourself permission. to do that. And if you're dealing with people in a lower vibration, don't take it personally. They're not in this group. They don't have availability to what you have available to. But don't take it personally. If they're in a fear vibration, that's just where they are. Give yourself permission to let them go. I love you guys. If you can put up questions if you want. But I think that's it. I'm going to end the YouTube video. Send that to the people who are not on Facebook. Love you guys.